So before I even take this out, I can show you a side-by-side comparison to the new and the old and how much gunk was actually in there. I'm surprised again that this was actually pulling oil through all that buildup on the strainer. So now what we're going to do is change the strainer, which is the second filtering device right before it goes into the burner. And that's going to be on the left-hand side here of your burner. Yep. What we're going to do now is make sure that oil line's coming off to the furnace, and we're going to go ahead and remove the strainer, which is that secondary filtration device on the system. So. And just as I suspected, the strainer is looking just as bad, if not worse, than the actual filter was. The regular primary filter, that is.
Gross.
So before I even take this out, I can show you a side-by-side comparison to the new and the old and how much gunk was actually in there. I'm surprised again that this was actually pulling oil through all that buildup on the strainer. Yeah, I can't believe this is working.
Do you have to kind of clean out the line a little bit there too, or it's just...
Yeah, so we're going to purge the line before we put the new strainer back in, because we don't want the new one to end up looking like that 5 minutes from now. So we're going to open this line up and dump some oil out. This is looking at the oil line. We're just going to open it up and allow the pressure from the tank to push some oil through. The oil filter's got to fill up first, and then it'll start coming through here. You have to do... Oh, there it comes. See how black and nasty it is? So we want that to run clear. Again, it's gonna look like Kool-Aid, like red colored, before we put that strainer back on to make sure we don't clog it. There's a white bucket. I'm just gonna reach across here, grab this, pour a little bit of this in there. Getting a little bit clearer with every time that we do this. Get to the point where it's pretty clear. Be happy with that. So we're going to put our gasketing back together, put our strainer back on there. Go ahead and clip everything back in. We're going to go ahead and change the nozzle out. And that's going to be the part that injects the fuel to the burner. That again could be pretty gummed up. That's where our nozzle is going to be located, right in this compartment here. Take our nozzle line off. This is the part that delivers the oil to the nozzle.
Is it going to get gunked up too?
It's possible that it could be gunked up if stuff got through that strainer that we just took off, that last filtration device. This could have some in there as well. This is our J tube. And on the end of this device is where our nozzle is. So in here is our nozzle, and you can see that from before, this is our new nozzle. We're going to go ahead and take that apart and change that out. So take these apart, we just use regular 3/4 and 5/8 wrench. And the strainer looks like it's been protected by the nozzle rather, has been protected by the strainer and the other filtration in line here. Nozzle line out, J-tube out, and put the new nozzle in place. Get that nice and tight. We're just going to clean things up here a little bit. You might want to just stand back a little bit because it could splatter. Right, we'll set that off to the side over here. Go ahead and clean the device that we took off in the beginning. Go ahead and get that guy put back on there. Get this away from Gerald so he doesn't get high here doing our videos. Take apart the boiler here in a second. We're going to clean out the whole heat exchanger, brush and vacuum that out, and that would be the final larger component of a tune-up. Again, when you're opening these valves, same one on the tank, lefty is open, so turn it counterclockwise, and as that knob comes up those threads, the valve is more open. When they bottom out, the knob will actually stop turning and get stiff. It's about a ½ inch sticking up. Close our ignition transformer back up. Sorry. Now we're going to go ahead and purge the oil line. After changing the filter and all this gunky stuff here, what we're going to do is go ahead and purge the rest of the air out of the line from the tank to the burner. This is the same thing that happens if your system runs out of oil. You're going to want to go ahead and get the oil line purged as well, which removes the air. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to do that by using a 3/8 wrench. We'll use a wrench that has a ratchet on one side and then just an open end on the other side. We're going to go ahead and open our oil line. Get started here. With the clear hose, we're able to see if there's any air in the line as it's purging. Also shows us the color of the oil as well. So when the reset trips, this red button here, this will trip and stay off for about 45 seconds, depending on the controller. And then you can go ahead and reset it. Sometimes you can reset. You can clearly see the difference in the color between the good oil and the bad oil that was in the system. Now that the oil line's purged, we're gonna go ahead and start cleaning the heat exchanger. So this is a soot vacuum to remove the soot from the boiler. It's a special vacuum that can't catch fire for the hot soot, just like the ashes in your fireplace. This is the top of the heat exchanger, and we're going to take the cover off of that and get in there and get that all scrubbed up and cleaned up. The ultimate surprise. Let's see how dirty this thing is.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's got some
Good stuff.
Some soot in there.
There's some white in there. Oh my goodness.
It's just soot. From when oil isn't burned clean, it starts to create soot, which builds up inside here, but not only inside here, inside your chimney as well. That's why it's important to get this cleaned, and every few years to get your chimney cleaned as well on an oil system. Any dust comes out, just back up. It's really not something to breathe in.
So the left side clean, and then right side. Perfect.
Nuts. This is a digital combustion analyzer. This is going to tell you how efficiently or how well the burner's running by taking samples of the exhaust or the flue as the system's running. So we're going to let it warm up here for a few minutes before we go ahead and plug it in. Of course. It's supposed to be magnetic, but...
Strip.
So this is a smoke test strip. This is going to see how clean the system's burning before we use our combustion analyzer. We just want to make sure we're not pulling in a bunch of soot into the analyzer because it can clog it up. So this is like a pre-test to the combustion analyzer. Just heard the system fire up. I'm going to go ahead and wait, let it run for a few seconds. And then we're going to check for smoke.
Just pulls it out.
That's all, yeah. It's like a white filter, so then if there's any soot, we're going to be able to see it, which obviously there's some soot there. Let it run for a few more minutes. Nice and clean. Go ahead and take a flue reading. It's going to tell us how good a draft the flue has. Just going to hold it on full. We're running good. It's ready for run. So we're going to go back over to our fuel system. Cover to fuel and then let it run for a few minutes. See what kind of readings we get. Tune-up for oil should be done once a year, and that'll prevent a lot of the things that you've seen with the clogged oil filters, strainers, how dirty the system was, and it'll help keep it running more efficiently and burn less fuel throughout the season.